How many,
We're unmuted. We're unmuted. Okay, somebody.
can ask them to mute. Hey, everyone, could we ask you all to mute your microphones, please? Should I start? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is our monthly office hours with the test administration team at the Office of Assessment and Standards at the State Department. We had this last month. I don't know if there's anybody. Is there anyone on the call who did not participate last month? Do we have new people? Yes. Yes, okay. I think because we have new people, we should probably go around and introduce ourselves and what each of us do. And we will be answering your questions later. We're going to have a couple of short presentations, and then open it up for questions. So my name is Kirsten Hurrell, and I manage the end of course test program.
I'm Tanya Keinert. I am the program manager for test security.
Crystal Huckabee, Program Manager for SC Ready.
Hi, I'm Roberta Turner, and I am the Program Manager for the SC Alt Assessment.
I'm Victoria Smaka. I'm a psychometrician. Megan Walters Branham, 4K, 5K readiness, and ELP assessments or English language proficiency assessments.
Jonathan Sedbury, Coordinator of NAEP. David Trombley, Gifted and Talented Testing, College and Career Readiness Testing.
I'm Dan Publicover. I'm the Accommodations Program Manager.
Leslie Dalstra, 10 test and reimbursements for IB and Cambridge exams.
Hey, thank you. So we're going to start off with a couple of short presentations on topics that are relevant this time of year. And I guess, Roberta, do you want to go first?
Yes.
Okay, so Roberta Turner, our Program Manager for SC Alt, is going to share some information.
Okay, so I have been asked to talk to you guys about how to calculate the 1% for determining for the students with the alternate assessment. And I'm just going to show you this graph here. This is actually a calculation, a graph that's used for the determining the disproportionality, but it's also a great tool for us for calculating the 1%. And the numbers at the top, I don't know if you can see my pointer. I hope you can. The numbers at the top, these are the students who take the alternate assessment. And there are 4 years here. So I'm just going to go like with 2024. Actually go across the demographics. So this is for ELA. The total number of students who took the alt assessment for 2024 in ELA were 3,850. And then if we look down below for 2024, these are the students who took SC Ready and ELCEP. And those, all of these figures you can get off of the reporting and data in that file on the website. But if you notice across where it says total students, 412,788 students took the SC Ready and ELCEP in English, and the 3,850 divided by the 412,788, that's how you get your percent of students. And I'll show you that in just a minute, but if you want to stick that in your calculator, you're more than welcome to do so. And again, these numbers are from 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. And just to give you just an idea that this is the bottom part of that spreadsheet, and this shows the disproportionality. Now, the numbers I have here are for the whole state, and this is just, you can do the same thing for your district, and I'll put the link in the chat when I'm done, where you can get the tool to do this. But as you see here for the state, it shows us the areas of disproportionality where we're the risk ratio, and it shows you the demographic areas, like you can see up here. The African American students, we're at risk of disproportionality, as well as disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged students. And then we'll look here at math, and it's the same thing. We have 4 years there, and if you look across where it says total assessment, there's 3,914 students who took the odd assessment in math, and that's all grade levels. And then down below are the 415,743 for the gen ed, and that includes the algebra for high school and the SC Ready Math. And again, this is the disproportionality. It shows the disproportionality by student category. And here you will see our percents. And as you see, if you look at for 2022, we were at 0.88 of students, 0.88% of students who took ELA, and we're at 0.88 for students who took math. And then in 2023, again, ELA, we were at 0.88, but math went up to 0.91. And now for our last spring, 2024, we were at 0.93% of students taking ELA and 0.94 for math. So as you see, we're on a steady trend going up. And so that's why we've been doing extra things to make sure that we stay under the 1%, because at the rate we're going, by spring of 2026, we're going to be testing over 1% of students on the alternate assessment if we don't really try to make sure that we are testing the right kids on the alternate assessment.
Roberta, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
So the statewide data that you were just showing,
Mhm.
did you get that when you said the website? Did you get that from the test scores website or SCDE?
The SCE, yes, the
That's
SCE
publicly available.
It's publicly available. Everyone has access to it.
Right.
It's just that I use the demographic one just because I wanted to get all of the information. And, but yes, that is a publicly available for the ELCEP, SC Ready, and the alternate assessment. And it's under the reporting and data for, through the Office of Reporting. So all of these scores are available, and you can get your district scores, your individual district scores. But I did it just as the state. And so, but that's how you calculate the 1%. You take that big giant number divided by that little number, and you get your percent of students who tested. And these are students who tested, not who are going to test. This is our actual test.
That was going to be my other question. So your denominator is those who tested, not the number of students. So it could include enrolled students that just
No. This is all tested. In both. In the gen ed, those are tested students on the SC Ready ELCEP. And on the top part, those are tested students on the alt assessment. This is all tested data. And that is what I have. If you have some questions, you can put them in the chat.
Are you monitoring the chat, Victoria?
And so I am finished presenting, and I will put that link in the chat so that you can find that tool if you're interested in doing that data for your district.
Okay, thanks, Roberta. I think our next presentation is Tanya. Sorry. I was confused because I don't have an agenda. I didn't know who was presenting. Sorry. You can
I am not presenting today because we had a conflict or confusion in our schedule.
stand.
But if there aren't any questions for test security, I'll be more than happy to answer them at any time.
So it was Dan. I was right.
Yes, you were right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Dan Publicover is our next.
And somebody's raised their hand.
Hello, Tanya. I sent about 4 or 5 questions. I hope you got them. Or do you need to talk with me?
I think you and I should have a sidebar, like.
Okay. I just had a generic question. Are you coming to the TAR tomorrow? Excuse me, Thursday,
To the what?
TAR meeting?
No, I'll be in another district.
Okay. Can I ask just a couple questions? Because it's not just my question. We would like to know if you can give to us some clarification, maybe via email to the list server, the reason why principals were added to the DTC, STC test security form. And what is the reason behind requesting for school and district personnel to sign a separate form? And if you can send us some clarification, I had talked with you. This is not just a question that I have. I also got permission to update the form to have and/or, and this is a request from the DTCs, if that change could be made and posted on the state website so that we can make that available to the group.
Okay, to address your first question, we added the additional confidentiality agreements because of test security violations that indicated we needed them. There were incidents where principal and other people were involved in the violation. And the DTC told us since those persons had not signed a confidentiality agreement, that they could not be held liable. So it is to protect everybody. Whoever is participating with testing, whoever may go inside of a testing session, we're asking that they sign one of those alternate confidentiality agreements.
I figured that was the case.
Yes, ma'am.
The other one that I have is, since a district is a school personnel, can it be considered for them just to sign that form for next year?
Repeat that, if the what?
A principal, an assistant principal, administrative assistant, psychologist, reading coach, you name it. They are school personnel. Could they just sign that form?
Yes, our new form is just a generic form.
Now, you see what I'm saying? Instead of having the principals with it's because of the form that you have right now, there is a statement that I wouldn't sign as a principal. You gave me permission to change, but it's saying that if I'm a principal, I'm responsible for providing comprehensive training. And principals don't attend the state training. That's where the whole confusion came about. But anyway, if the form can be updated and posted on the site, my principals, I'm meeting with them tomorrow and they will sign the form. But I was just wanting, I think it might be good to have just maybe 1 or 2 sentences to let us know so we can tell them. That's why.
We'll go in and have that adjustment made for you. That should be an easy fix, but I do see your concern.
Correct. And I got permission writing for you guys, so I had fixed my form and you actually has been deployed to them. But those are my questions. And it's not just mine. I'm speaking for the DTC group. Thank you so much. I appreciate.
You're welcome.
Amy's hand is raised.
Maybe we should have Dan's presentation first. But we're opening it up to questions. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just echoing what Lais was saying about the security agreements. Because we're missing a monitor form in the TAM, but there is a monitor form online. And there is confusion of because principals don't typically hold that role as that test coordinator, so.
Right. I do apologize for the language in there. It'll be reviewed and then corrected. As far as there not being a monitor form in the TAM, I honestly cannot speak to that. I haven't looked to see. I assumed that there would be one in there, just to be frank with you. So.
Are you only talking about SC Ready, Amy?
In the SC Ready manual, there is not a monitor form, but there is a
Okay.
monitor form online. And in the SC Ready TAM, there is a school and district personnel form that is not available online. So
Amy, I found the monitor form. It's in the monitor section of the
That is
SC Ready,
correct.
not with the other ones.
That is
Oh,
correct.
okay.
That is
E.
correct.
It's in the very
Sorry, I know-
back in Appendix E.
Yeah, we've hijacked your meeting and we're sorry, but we've just had a lot of questions about which form should be signed or not signed, and
This is why I'm not coming to TAR.
Why
Well,
not? We love
I
you.
don't have room for you on the agenda for Thursday. But we would love some written clarification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to have our short presentation from Dan Publicover.
Yeah, so speaking of forms, I have a resource. And I want to reiterate that this is just a resource. This is something that you could use within your districts or within specific schools within your district. And it's a review of accommodations form. If you've worked in North Carolina with individuals with disabilities, this form might look familiar. I worked with my friends in North Carolina kind of developing some of this stuff. The purpose of this form is accountability as well as future planning for IEP meetings. And the birth of this form kind of came from when we're looking at testing security violations. A huge portion of our violations are not administering accommodations to students. That, hey, we put them in a group, we said that we were going to give them this, and then, oops, we forgot to give them an accommodation. This form serves as a check in real time. So it provides student information, test day information, and then explicit accommodations that would be provided per test. The individual would check which accommodations would be used based on their IEP, and then would sign or print their name and sign that. That would be completed prior to test day. This would be something completed by maybe your case manager or special education teacher that works closely with the student, or someone that just has access to that IEP, maybe your school testing coordinator. This side column, column B, discusses was the accommodation offered, and then what did that accommodation look like on test day? This would be completed by the test administrator while the test is being completed. So, for example, if the student was provided individual administration, the case manager would check that box prior to test day. It would show up, they would sign, write their name, and then the test administrator on test day would write, yes, this accommodation was provided, and then provide an explanation as to what it looked like. The student tested in a separate setting with a test administrator and a monitor, right? This form then shows us that the accommodation was provided on test day and would be used for future IEP meetings. What I mean by that is if the student was rejecting an accommodation, you would put, was it offered? Yes. And then what did it look like on test day? The student did not want large print. They took the test on the computer. So whenever the IEP team comes back together for that IEP meeting, you would say, hey, this probably isn't an appropriate accommodation. Maybe we need to review it or remove it. So looking at this top part, I think that this column A makes a lot of sense of which accommodations are provided, but looking in this top part, it would be completed for each assessment that the student takes. The reason for that is it's a different testing session to assure that the student was provided the accommodation on that test day. And they may have different accommodations per assessment. I have a form for SC Ready and EOC, as well as the ALT assessment. So when I said it was a resource, here's kind of the drill down reason of what I was looking at. For the alternate assessment, right now I was able to work ALT access into there as well. This form looks a little bit different and it has all the accommodations that line up with access as well as SC ALT. The way that it stands on the other form, right now it is just SC Ready and EOC EP. This is just a resource. This is not a requirement. This is something that maybe you want to try out in one of your specific schools that has had these violations in the past, or maybe that needs some assistance with accommodations. I also have another document that goes way more in depth in how to administer this form and what it looks like and what its purpose is. I will be presenting with OSIS next week or the week after. And that's when these forms will be live in EdPlan under the assessments tab for people to download and utilize. If you are not an EdPlan district, then these forms hopefully will be uploaded to our website shortly thereafter. So no, this form is not live right now. You guys are getting a super sneak peek at what this will be. And I'm also happy if this is something that your district is interested in, I'm more than happy to set up a time to work with you individually, work with your staff that would be using this form or whomever would be interested in this resource. Because I do think that this puts us in a position where we are really making sure that accommodations are being administered on test day as people are completing these forms. I'm looking to the questions in this side. Are there instructions for printing a report for the EdPlan program for accommodations? And help me out with that. Are you talking about like it auto populating these reports within EdPlan, Ms. Quinn?
I'm sorry, I was typing. A report that would generate a list of students and their accommodations for state testing.
Cool. You and I are on the same page here. I have been talking to OSIS about how these forms could be auto-populated within EdPlan, because I do acknowledge if you have a fifth grade student and they're taking all of these assessments, you're going to have so many forms. Therefore, the teacher is having to complete name, student ID number, and fill all of this out multiple times. If that information could auto-populate from EdPlan through their wizard feature, which we're hopeful that that can get on board here, most likely not this testing year, but hopefully in the future, that it would pull all of those accommodations directly over, all the student information directly over, and a case manager would just kind of click which reports they want, and they would all auto-populate. So yes, that is my inevitable goal whenever this gets off the ground, because I do acknowledge that's a lot of handwriting that would go into it.
Well, is there a report that we could generate like right now or,
Yes.
for our testing that's going to give me my students and their current accommodations so that I can double check?
Through EdPlan, to my understanding, they are handling that kind of through IEP at a glance. However, that is not a perfect snapshot of just accommodations. And no, it does not compile all of the students on your caseload together. It would be individual student basis. As it stands right now, to my understanding, Katie Heiss would be your contact for OSIS that would have a better understanding of that.
So the only way to reconcile this is manually through.
For this specific form?
No.
Or
I
just-
just, all
Oh, yes,
accommodations
all-
for.
Yes, as it stands right now, to my understanding, unless it's through advanced reporting, which I haven't gotten full access to quite yet, and how to pull a full accommodations report for your either school or district through EdPlan.
Hey, Didi,
Yes.
give me a call. If you go on the advanced report, it's just like Podium. I have created reports to pull accommodation for all the assessments. But remember, garbage in, garbage out. If the IP is correct, it's there. And by the way, all the handouts are there, but you need to be a user for in all this. Just call me. I'll help you. It's there
Thank you.
available. I appreciate the form, but we like to have things in Excel format so that when the accommodations are placed in the test tickets, it's printed. And that's what we have done before. It's easier to do mail merge that way. Thank you. Call me, Didi. I'll help you.
Here's the next one.
Yeah, and then Tammy, I saw your comments. If a student refuses small group, we just need to document it that it was offered and they could test in a regular classroom. So yes, a student is able to refuse an accommodation. You would write yes that you offered it. That would say that I provided all accommodations in the IEP. However, in that second column, that far left where you're providing your descriptor, that's where you would give your explanation as to how was this accommodation used, or if it was not used, please explain. Another example of something that if it wasn't used would be if a student received multiple breaks or multiple testing sessions, and then they completed the test within 35 minutes. When we know that they weren't taking advantage of that accommodation, this would be a great place to document, hey, I offered the accommodation, it was there, they didn't use it. here's what it looks like. So when you go back to that parent in that IEP meeting and you want to say remove it or reevaluate that accommodation, you have a justification as to why you're touching it. And Amy, if this teacher has 10 students in a room, just do a small group accommodation and creating this form for the 10 students will take away from the monitoring during the test session. Yes, I acknowledge that that would be a lot. These forms also could be completed after the testing session is completed. Also, if that's the only accommodation that the 10 students in the classroom would be receiving, then you would be able to very quickly just say yes, and at the end, spell out all of that. So whenever you have students with more specific accommodations, it definitely would take a little bit more time. However, it does fill that accountability piece of, was the student provided the accommodation? Do we have proof that the test administrator affirmed that it was happening? And again, it's just a resource. So this might be something that you want to take parts of, adjust to, but it does help us out for the test security side of things.
Yeah, his hand is up. Sure, she's chance.
Is that?
Whose hand is up?
Yeah.
On Ashley.
Yeah, do
Hey,
you have a question? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So we did SC Ready training today, and in the PowerPoint for the STC, it says that if students have the same form number, to not to separate them. And then in the TAM, it just says, to keep students, be mindful and that you could use dividers. We had a concern because last year, many of our classes had all the students had the same form except for one or two. How are we supposed to, I guess, what was the thinking behind saying that in the PowerPoint? And what do you mean by separating them? I mean, I know the obvious of trying to keep them from not cheating off each other, but based on kind of in the past where the majority of our students had the same form number, it's going to be really hard in a classroom to spread them out too much. And also on that same note, the concern of putting that on the teachers on the day of testing to find out that these students have the same form number and they need to change up their seating arrangement, because a lot of times the teachers go ahead and do the seating charts prior and then just change it on the one or two changes. But if they're waiting until the day of testing to find out that some students have the same form number, that changes their seating charts.
So are you able to space the students out so that they're not right on top of each other and they won't see? Because I completely understand what you're saying with the limited number of forms that sometimes show up in a testing session.
Definitely. We always try to be mindful and keep them, at a 3 feet distance so that they can't cheat off each other. But
Right.
the way it was said or the way it was said in the PowerPoint, it was almost like we got to completely separate them and, like from opposite ends of the room. And we were all just kind of thinking, well, that's gonna be hard because a lot of them have some of the same form number.
Right. As long as we take measures to mitigate the possibility of cheating there, I think we're going to be fine using spacing or dividers as is suggested. But we also know that because we're turning in those seating charts, if we do have unusual events happen, we're able to go back and see, that two students with the same form were sitting near each other. Does that come close to answering what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am. And then just to make sure, so the question also is, can the teachers, or how can we communicate to the teachers maybe the day before testing or the week before testing to say, hey, these students are going to have the same form number, keep them separate, make sure they're really far apart if there is some outliers, or do we have to wait until the morning of testing for that?
Let me think on that and get you a response on that, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we can, as we already have, open it up to, are there any other questions on any test program? I think we have the program managers for just about every test program in the room. So I'm just going to comment on that last question, and maybe it's different for SC Ready than end of course, but in DRC's system, when you create a test session, it's supposed to automatically spiral the tickets. There would be 3 forms in a room. And of course, there would be, as far as I understand it, no way to have all of the same test form in one test session unless DRC's system is doing something it's not supposed to do. So I would be interested in knowing if that happens.
I think the problem is there's not an equitable distribution of the forms in the room. You might have 3 forms, but it might be 15 kids with 1 form, 2 with another, 1 with another. Is the
And of
issue
course,
that-
it spirals it, it
Mm.
alternates on the ticket. So if you hand them out just the way they come out of the printer, they would alternate in the room automatically. So maybe the test sessions are set up differently. I don't know.
Kristen,
Yes.
I don't think that's the issue. It's because the grouping that we have to do to provide the correct accommodations sometimes will equate that students will be side by side. In my district, I train my test coordinators to use the Excel file, meaning download all student details, so they can catch that. And they can plan ahead and assign students. So it's not, I don't think it's anything to do with the way DRC is doing things.
Okay,
Now,
then I misunderstood. I didn't realize you were asking about in rooms that you've got accommodations going on in, not in general
because we are
testing.
pulling, you see,
Okay.
because especially, well, I'm not gonna go into the pre-code and what I had found that was a great idea that it didn't work very well. But anyway, sometimes the grouping changes. So I have to pull students from different classes or sessions that were created by DRC because now we need to do makeup. Let's use makeup for the example. So that's why it's important for you to have that Excel file that has all the information so you can alert, hey, you need to have more separation. Because we can't change the test form. The test form
So
is
you're
what
talking
loads.
about grouping that you are imposing after the tickets are printed, correct?
No, after the system is generated. That's correct.
Oh, you're
Because once
rearranging in the Excel
DRC,
file. I got you.
that is
I
correct.
got you.
What I mean is the ticket and the form is the form. So does that answer? And by the way, that's not only for SC Ready. That could also happen. And of course, if you are doing makeup for different subjects, that helps the process. But SC Ready, sometimes, we can't do that.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway.
if they're all getting oral administration, they're all going to have the same form.
Correct.
Okay.
And
So we
and
just
I
need
am,
to
I will say
plan
too,
ahead.
this is
Go ahead.
Dion who asked that original question, but we did last year in our district had many in the same class that had the same form, not just the pull-out ones for accommodations, but students in the regular ed administration class with the same form. And it was a good bit of them. So it would be almost impossible to really like separate them across the room.
Was that because someone had rearranged them in the downloaded Excel spreadsheet? Because that wouldn't be how they would come out of DRC.
No, because we usually keep our sessions the way that they come to us in DRC, and then we print the test tickets. Now I see what Ms. Zachary is saying when we pull them out for small group, that is the case where they have the same form, but even in a regular classroom, general ed classroom, they would have a lot of the same form numbers. Like I can recall one class having like 13 having the same form number and then 7 having the other same form number.
I'm just going to say, do the best you can with separating the students. As a former STC, that was my experience with DRC as well, was that when we had a test session created, we would see you would sometimes have one form that the majority of the students had in the room, and it was difficult then. So please just try to separate the students to the best of your ability.
Or do we have is that a, Lais, do you have your hand raised? If you do, you're muted.
There's another
Not
question.
anymore, sorry.
Tammy has a question.
That's a question.
Tammy Durham.
Tammy,
Update on the roster information that was discussed during the STC training. Do you see that?
that question. Oh, do you mean SC Ready or end of course? For Tammy, for the roster information. SC Ready.
Update on the roster. Number of scriptures signed.
Tammy, I'm going to address this from the end of course standpoint, and I have no idea if this is how it works for SC Ready, but you are allowed to use the rosters to sign the tickets in and out. We recommend that you have a way of signing tickets in and out and matching the roster to the ticket that the student is getting. And then those would have to be securely shredded afterwards because they have secure information on them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I was just wondering then, are we required to turn anything into the State Department as far as signing, sign in and sign out sheets? Or are we required to keep those for 5 years?
Well, the roster. No, you don't turn those in, or those would be securely shredded.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the only thing that you might be confusing it with the security checklist. That would be what you would have to keep. The DTC would have to keep a copy and the STC keep copies. And that's for signing out paper materials, which for end of course, as you know, you probably have almost none. So for SC Ready, the security checklist for signing out paper materials you have to keep. For signing the tickets in and out, at least from my perspective for end of course, that's mainly just to make sure the kid is getting the right ticket that belongs to them, that states the correct accommodation on it. If they have an accommodation, that's what the sign in and sign out of the rosters is for.
And on the inside cover, the back inside cover of your TAM, list what forms you need to keep and for how long those need to be maintained.
Any other questions? Don't see any on the chat. Lais, your hand is still up, but I guess you don't have a question, or we've answered it. Okay. Going once, going twice. Okay, well, if no one has any questions, I guess I'm going to ask do we have one? Okay, Dee Dee.
Was trying to type again. I just wanted to clarify the test security agreements. Should those stay on site during testing and then move to the DTC for retention?
Yes, they should, Diddy, just in case a monitor comes and visits that school. That's something we'll need to see.
Thank you, because that's what I instructed everybody, and I was second guessing that and was gonna have to go back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
More questions? I think if we don't have any questions, I'm going to ask our program managers if anybody has anything they want to announce.
I have a question for you all and a challenge. If you do not have a state assessment electronic policy or procedures or expectations with consequences, that's something that you probably should go ahead and work on. And if you do have one, please make sure all of your STCs are aware of what it is.
Anyone else have anything they would like to announce or?
I just want to say for the SEL assessment, when the students are taking that, just remember that there will not be scores for ELA or for science grades 4 and 6 until after the standard setting this summer. And we have committees, summer committee meetings, and please go to there's a web page in the SCDE website to sign up for committees. And I encourage you all to have your teachers sign up for some of our summer committee meetings because we have lots of them for Gen Ed and for the SEL assessments all summer.
Also, we have our second STC pre-test webinar Thursday. We had a lot of STCs join us last week. If you have any who didn't, who were unable to join us, if you'll encourage them to sign up for or to be available for that Thursday.
I have a couple of end of course announcements, just things you probably already know that on April 14th, the STCs will get access to test management to be able to check accommodations and set up test sessions, check test sessions, the secure materials, if you have any, again, friend, of course, that's very little. Those will be delivered on April 14th. And most of you probably know that the alternative window closed on Friday. So there is no alternative window testing available at all between now and when the spring window opens. And just a reminder that there is no alternative window testing between the end of the spring window, June 6th, and when summer window opens, there's no testing. So you need to finish the spring testing by the end of spring. Anything?
Can you hear me? I just can you go back and revisit the information about the test security affidavits? Are they not the same in the SC Ready and the end of course TAM? I know, Tanya, you said you were going to go back and maybe make some updates, especially the ones that have principles on there, but, and forgive me, I haven't looked at the end of course TAM yet, Kirsten, sorry. But it's always been my assumption that those security affidavits were the same.
I did not change the end of course ones. I did not know they made changes to the SC Ready ones. So the end of course ones are the same. They have always been. And I don't, my only guess about the principal is that the situation where that has occurred is in elementary schools. Anyway.
However, that could also happen at the high school.
same.
I mean, it just me, maybe I'm speaking for the group or maybe only for myself. I just think that especially with both of those assessments being state quote unquote assessments, they need to have the same security affidavits. So can we streamline those so that they are more the same?
We'll take
Please?
that back. We'll discuss that internally.
Thank you.
So sorry, but if you're going to mandate that for the end of course, we need to know like yesterday, because training is
I'm
about
not
to happen.
changing anything for end of course. The TAM is already published.
Thank
You already
you.
have it. Well, I cannot change it now.
Right, now, thank you. What we have done is everybody that is able is trained as a test administrator and everybody else is trained as a monitor. So the only people that sometimes don't sign a form is somebody from maintenance for something that we hope will never happen at the school. But anyway, thank you, Kristen. Appreciate. Dr. Hurrell, thank you for your help.
Just so you know, I would probably never change anything for spring in March.
Yeah, thank you. We can't.
I can't. The TAM, here it is. It's already printed.
Thank you.
So based
Con-
on what you just said, am I understanding that we're not changing the SC Ready affidavits? They're already in print, or are we changing them?
No, we can't go back and reprint them, but honestly, I'm not sure why principal is on there. That is not something that needs to be on that one. That's why I have the alternative, like generic confidentiality agreement. That's the one that a principal would sign.
Gotcha.
And district office visitors, anybody who may be in your school that's just visiting during testing, but not actively administering testing, that's what those would be for. Because if that person does make a violation, they need to be held accountable.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Tanya, Amy has a question.
Amy, I'll email you, and then you can disseminate it how you would like. I do have some sample policies that you can share.
Thank you. I just thought for the group as a whole, that might be something that if there were samples, everyone wouldn't be working
Yes.
80 different ways to try to create one.
I guess you have a email list for all the DTCs. I'm assuming you use FATAR.
We do.
Okay.
And then Susan also has the listserv that she could
Oh, that's
send
right.
out for all
Okay.
DTCs.
All right, but I do have some samples.
Okay, thank you.
I did want to note now, your policies for your district should not mimic ours exactly, because each district has different expectations and things that you expect your testing team to do. What we have in the TAM is the least that they can do, but you all can be more strict in your districts.
Yeah, I'm going to comment on that because this comes up for end of course in particular, because they're the students, there's a high motivation for cheating. We cannot tell you, we may in the future, we may change the regs in the future, but we cannot tell you that you have to give a student a 0 who is caught cheating or cheating with AI or electronics or something like that. That's a district policy, but I would strongly recommend that you have a serious consequence for using AI to cheat on your end of course test. Anything else? Any comments? Any questions from the group? No? Okay, I guess then we're going to sign off and say goodbye, and happy you could join us, and hopefully you'll just a little preview next month. I'll be giving a little rundown on the online tools training, which is a very useful thing that all students should participate in. And other than that, I guess we don't have anything else. So we'll say goodbye and have a great afternoon.
Hi, everyone.
All right, thank you all.
Hey.